Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Danube Institute, established in 2013, is headquartered in Budapest, Hungary, and is one of the premier conservative think tanks of Europe. It bills itself as a center-right and is committed to a respectful conversation in cultural, religious, and social life. One particular area in which the Institute focuses is the Christian faith. This can be seen by the research group that puts a focus on the importance of Christian faith and democracy. This group believes the study of Christian principles, values, practices, and institutions can contribute to the rediscovery of the Christian roots and provide a solid basis for the preservation of Christian political traditions. It also created a persecuted Christians research group, which helps Hungary become one of the first countries in the world to address the issue of persecuted Christians at a government level. István Kiss is the executive director and has met with the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development and the Department of Agriculture. Mr. Kiss was here and had the opportunity to speak on the Senate floor a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully, we can work together on issues that affects our citizens. It has been interesting to read about the Hungarian way of life. The way they believe that there's very little problems with issues like addiction, mental health, homelessness, crime, and welfare. In welfare, if you are able, then you work. I believe this stems from their belief in living by Christian faith. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Representative Hicks renews his motion. Representative Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm deeply troubled by this resolution, Representative Hicks. This organization is tied to an autocrat in Hungary, Orbán. Are you familiar with who that is?
Representative Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, I'm not.
Representative Jones.
So you're bringing a resolution for an organization tied to an authoritarian who you're not even familiar what this organization is. And so that just shows us that there's not been thought put into this. This is about fascism. This is an organization that has been allied with fascist governments. And I don't know if that's what this government wants to be. We see what we're doing here, expelling members for dissenting, but that's what was happening in Hungary. And so this is very disturbing, it's very troubling. It's perpetuating this false moral narrative of persecution. And it's also pushing this very anti-democratic, authoritarian, autocratic way of thinking. And I think that's counter to what we should stand for in this body. But I see that we're sliding in and we're trying to model ourselves off those very troubling forms of government. And so my question is, who asked you to bring this resolution?
Representative Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had a constituent in my district that has done the research and actually went to Hungary and presented the executive director and the director of this with a proclamation. And he was on the Senate floor not long ago. And that's why I'm in studying this. It was actually very interesting to find, you know, we live in a great state, okay? But a lot of the issues that we deal with in this state, especially of late, is not solved politically. It is really not. And that's what I took to this, is their faith. They solve issues through spiritual growth in generations. And I think that's something that we can really grab a hold of in this state and in America and look at.
Representative Jones.
If you believe that to be true, Representative Hicks, perhaps it's time to switch professions, because we're here as a government body to promote the public good. If you want to go to theology school, I see some folks from Vanderbilt Divinity here who you can ask about how to apply.
Representative Jones, you're out of order. That's enough. We're moving on. No, sir. I'm not. You've been out of order. You're out of order. We're not doing this. Representative McCalman's next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move previous question.
Previous question's been called. Is there objection? We're on the board. All those in favor of previous question, vote aye when the bell rings. All those opposed, vote no. Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 71, 20 nays.
Previous question prevails. We're voting. All those in favor of Senate Joint Resolution 174 vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 70, 20 nays, 2 present, unvoted.
Senate Joint Resolution 174 having a constitutional majority, I hereby declare it concurred in without objection. Most reconsider is tabled.